right, Nick, all I can tell you about the movie we're going to talk about today is that it just reminded me of one of my favorite Def Leppard albums, and that's Pyromania.
That's totally right, yeah.
Maybe for the wrong reasons.
We're going to talk about a pyromaniac.
Yeah, today, Emma, Kyle, and Nick on Film, Patreon selection. Join us. Welcome back to the show. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle Goethe from GoatFilmReviews.com.
I'm Nick from the St. Paul Filmcast, and thanks again for watching. Thanks again for finding us, and for our loyal fans, thank you for continuing to support the show. You can follow the show on Twitter and on Instagram. There's a Patreon. Check that out, because like this business Patreon Select Movie, you get to tell us what to do. Today we're going to talk about a movie that's only been available for the United States since August 2020 or 2019.
So I think it was released officially in 2021 in some theaters. Mubi was the company that was trying to find a release date for it, and in 2019 with releasing with COVID-19 in 2020 it was just a mess. So it finally came out in some form. I just don't know how.
Yeah, so it's only been available in the United States for the last couple months. It's Emma. Or Emma.
So Emma and Gaston deal with a crumbling marriage as they reckon with a failed adoption and a fracturing work-life relationship. Emma searches for healing in the arms of others, while her career as a dancer is tested by her husband.
That's amusing, because you give us the plot points, and it sounds like it could be really boring, but it's really a fascinating movie to watch.
It's captivating. I don't know that I like the movie, but it's captivating.
Right. It's one of those, I'm going to say, like right now, it's almost like when I would critique P2, it's a little more cleaner than I wish it would be. I wish it was a little more rougher. Remember, a little more, because it's a little more polished. It's really fantastic filmmaking.
Yes.
I think if it's a little more rougher on the edges, a little more almost at the amateurish, a little rougher, it would be a little more fantastic, because the characters are so rough.
See, I wouldn't want to sacrifice some of the great cinematography at play because it that's my favorite part of the movie, is how the movie looks. I love that opening with the street light on fire.
But that's a great point of her character.
Yeah.
She's not...
I don't know if going gritty would help make that look any better. I think it looks great. I love the dance sequence in front of the burning sun. Like, there's so many visual looks, and I love the way the movie looks.
I would think if you
don't dig it.
I think if you did a little bit of that, but then you like with the conversations and the pieces like that, if you a little bit rougher, a little more stylized, even though you're getting your hair cut and all that stuff, if you a little more cut that up a little bit. But right, the beginning of the movie looks fantastic, because it's the whole point of her character. Nobody's going to tell her to stop. Nobody's going to tell her to go. I'm just going to do this my own way, whether it fail up, down, or succeed.
Yeah. And we've talked a lot about people setting other people on fire on this show, so it doesn't feel...
She's going to dance to her own rhythm.
Yeah.
Right? She's going to do it her own way. I'm going to have a kid, I don't care. Or, hey. Okay.
Yeah, I got vibes of Climax watching this movie, because... maybe that's just because the film has a lot of dance in it, and a lot of kind of internal pain.
Much. Yeah.
I like it more than I did Climax. I like Emma, I like Gaston's relationship, or lack thereof at times. I like that fracturing part. The biggest thing I wanted from this movie was something that I felt was promised to us in the first 10 minutes. I wanted more of that adoption. I wanted to see the events leading up to that. I felt like this was a sequel to a movie that I was more interested in seeing. I wanted that portion of the movie.
It seems like a sequel. It does.
But you know how we, like in Reservoir Dogs, we covered the before and after of the heist, and that's more captivating than the heist? I think I was more captivated by the idea of that adoption and what went wrong there. I kept wanting us to see that portion. We never got to. So
there's a little small vignettes that I think effectively work. I don't know if it effectively overall as a movie really works, but there's small vignettes that are just fantastic. The dance sequence, the beginning of the movie, all of a sudden now she's a pyromaniac, and her destruction of her character, she's not going to do what people tell her what to do, including her mother, who is a judgmental. But you see the motivations for why she's doing it.
Yeah.
But she does fantastic. I forgot her name. What's her name?
Mariana di Girolamo. I'm probably saying it wrong.
Fantastic performance for her.
Yeah, she was great. I think Gael Garcia Bernal, or Gael Garcia Bernal,
nice
was
contrast.
Really fantastic. This is his third collaboration with Pablo Larrain, the director of one of my favorite films last year, Spencer. But this is their third pairing together, and Bernal is great in everything, but I think he's really great in this film, working alongside.
Very balanced, very balanced film. Even when the street light is on fire, it's very centered.
Yep.
And even it's a nice contrast, because their lives are not centered, but the film is centered. But everybody else is
balanced. Everyone is very much in center frame, speaking sometimes to the camera. or through the camera. And I really, it's funny to see like such a clean movie with such a unclean story.
It's you're right. It's a clean movie, but it's unclean. It's messy. Everything, all the characters are messy. Even like the lawyer.
Yeah, there's some messed up character relationships in this film. If you're a fan of character relationships being fractured, I mean, this is probably your thing.
But I can't pay you. Well, how do you expect to pay me? Well, here's me dancing. It's nice.
Well, and not only that, but I felt like she was hinting at a whole lot more than dancing right from the get-go there. Right. I can do a whole lot of things to help pay for this.
I agree.
And I was like, okay, so that's probably going to happen. I really liked our two lead performances. I really liked Mariana. I liked that she learned ballet, she learned Pilates, she learned dancing so that she could do this role. And you see that her role in the film, almost more than what she says or how she says it, I was so mesmerized in her performance physically. Right. And it's not even just the dance scenes. It's the way that she just moves in a scene. She's very
lucid.
Yeah, she's very much like an eel swimming through the water.
It's hard to do because she's very lucid. She can mesh in between the characters. The dancer, like, where is she? There she is. Mm-hmm. But she has gravity, which is tough to do in this film because it's very easy to have somebody character in gravity has a force. Yeah. And she definitely is a force, but she can move into a scene and out of a scene as well. She's part of the environment. She's walking down the street. It's almost like she's just an accessory, but she's still a force around.
Yeah. And I think having most of our cast being people we don't like, or people we don't feel bad for, is kind of something that's difficult to pull off. I think Larrain does that pretty well here. Again, I didn't love the movie, but I do respect the fact that I was still captivated the entire time watching it, and captivated by wondering what the hell is she going to do next? Like, what is going to happen?
Right, because you don't really know where are we going to go from here.
Because the timeline is so fractured. Yes. We do spend some time jumping around quite a bit, and that's something I didn't care for as much, but it does give a sense of wonder, like, what is happening? What is going to happen? I was lost in figuring it out.
Sorry. One of the points I emphasize on taking my notes is she's constantly using her body as motivation, almost a vessel, right? Mm-hmm. I'm using my body for the dance, but I'm using my body to get motivation, the lawyer enticement. And so she's kind of not really almost like a divorced notion of her body. It's almost like I have to use my body to do this.
Almost a tool for work.
Yeah, she regards her body as a tool for work. Mm-hmm. Also, she's almost like that awkward scene of the boy was sucking on your. Yeah. He can suck any part of body, So she's almost using her body as a tool rather than being a whole body herself.
And I think that's kind of her forward momentum of trying to get past like her internal struggle, her internal grief is to give up the part of her. Like,
yes, that's what I was trying to explain.
Right, get rid of it basically, because then she doesn't have to feel the pain. Because if you don't have a body, then you can't feel things. Kind of like, if she uses her own body as a tool, she ceases to exist in a human form. Right. I think that's really an interesting proposition. If we had gotten the juxtaposition, we don't get a chance to see the actual relationship working, right. And in that way, it's tough for me to juxtapose when it's not working. Same with her and Polo. When we see this like horrible pyromaniac accident happen, we don't get to see how the relationship was with the child during the non-part time. We don't even get to see the act itself, and in that way, I have trouble reckoning with it.
It could have been vicious or just
because I've seen comparisons with this film to We Need to Talk About Kevin, and I can't say that that's true because we never got to talk about Polo. Like, we never really got to see them as parents.
He's very much an accessory. Yeah, and that's the damage of this is, even though she eventually becomes pregnant as a child. This doesn't look like it's going to be healthy. This looks like still it's going to be an accessory. And everybody around her, I don't have a good valid point to tell you how to do things. But like I said in the beginning of the movie, she got rid of the stoplight. Yeah. She's going to go, she's almost a complete id. Mm-hmm. And everybody else is almost like following along with her. Yeah. Yeah,
do anything you can to just not be someone who has to think with feelings. Like, just do what you want to
do. Just do it. Right.
And it's a tough thing to care about a character who doesn't care about herself. But it is interesting. She's an interesting character.
Fascinating. Yeah. Right, because I don't know her trigger points. Mm-hmm. Something could almost like get the haircut wrong or something like that, or dance. Their dance. All of a sudden she gets frustrated, but all of a sudden she's dancing, and then there's a caravan going with her. They go to the airport. Everything. Yeah. Yeah. So almost like she can be a cult leader as well.
Yeah, she kind of has sway over her friendship group in a way where I'm not sure that her and her friends were sexual together at the beginning of the film. They certainly become that way. I'm not sure that they were that way early on. It's like she's almost like becoming maybe to go back to that sun, she's becoming a dying star, and she's sucking everyone else into her gravity of BS, like real pain and guilt that she's got, because every time Gaston is with her after this horrible event, he is drug into her mess. Every time her friends are there,
like I said, she's a gravity force. It's all attracting to her, and I don't know if she's self-aware of it, but she's just gonna go.
Yeah, I don't think she's self-aware of it at all, or maybe like you're right, she doesn't care that she is.
Right, yeah.
So,
and then we got to pepper in a little pyromania, which is fun. That is a lot of fun. I'm sure she enjoyed. I'm sure the actress enjoyed doing it. Yeah.
Again, 2019 was a year of pyromania. I mean, we got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They're flying off the handle with the flamethrower. Like every movie seemed like, hey, let's do that a little bit. So, I'm not against it. And again, shooting the way that Larrain does, cinematography by Sergio Armstrong, who worked with Larrain on a number of other films.
Yep.
You get that sensation that they have a good visual connection between them, because everything on display is luscious, colorful, very bright. And that's kind of what Larrain does very well, is especially in period pieces. Like when you look at Jackie, when you look at Spencer, is that he captures that visual flair of a time period. And this is I think this is his first Chile set present day film. So it's kind of surprising.
You're right.
Yeah.
Not with Jackie. I did see Jackie, but right. And I'm just a little bit like, if it was just a little more or less polished. I understand the places where you want to have polish with the dance sequences and the beginning of the movie and probably the end. But if it's just a little more rougher, mixing with the characters, I think gives a nice juxtaposition. We don't, even with the characters and what happened, we don't get a lot of, I think, would fulfill the story a little bit better.
Yeah, because the narrative is so broken up too, and that we are jumping a little bit around in what's going on in memories and kind of like jumping ahead. It would have been very easy to showcase scenes before, not have a full movie about that, but you could have given us hints. You could have given us character beats, something to pull and hold on to while we see this destruction happening.
Yeah,
that's just, it's my thing. I'd rather see all angles of the story than this portion of it.
But it's really sophisticated. I think Pablo really knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah,
this is really, really good filmmaking.
My preferences aside, I think the film is very well made, and if you enjoyed Jackie or Spencer or any of Larrain's other films, I think you should check this one out. I think you should check it out. Even
check
though
out a movie that he has a female title as a character.
Yeah, again, yeah, I know. Keep wondering when's Spencer going to show up in Spencer, but no, it's true. Like he's very good with one-word titles. Let's just say that. But I thought the movie was very well made. It didn't work for me wholly all the way through. There was a lot of things I wanted to happen or I wanted to see to help my appreciation of the film that didn't work. But that's also me saying you should check out the movie if you're interested in it, because it is. I think I'm in the minority here, and I think everyone.
There's so many things you can take away from it.
Yeah,
it's really hard to explain because it's like we said, it's a simple plot. But that's more to it than really is the plot is just a vessel, again, for what is being presented.
Yeah, and you tend to see films like this that I think run on way too long, and this one doesn't. I think this film reaches a conclusion where it's like, okay, we've hit our point, and it comes to an end. I tend to see a lot of these films where you're dealing with this kind of pain and struggle, and it becomes almost too depressing to handle. Where it's just like this.
It could have gotten really depressing,
and it kind of skirts that every single time. It's like skipping a rock across the water. Like it hits the water, it hits that depression, and then it kind of bounces a bit, and we get just enough out of it where it doesn't hit that overly depressing. I want to turn it off because I'm in pain.
But it's constantly dancing on. It can go really devastation, like the Joker, or Titan. But it keeps a balance of these people aren't the greatest people in the world. But there might be a sliver of them turning it around.
Yeah, I still kept hoping for it.
But then possibly not true.
Yeah.
Right, because you even get her sequence of like her telling her, "Well, I'm gonna have this baby," and then their girlfriend breaking down, the lawyer girlfriend breaking down, and she doesn't really console her very well. It's just like, "Well, I'll help you deal with it."
Yeah. Well, see, looking at things that I wanted more of, I actually wanted to spend more time in that conclusion, in that climax and denouement than parts of the other film. Like when we hit that realization of where Polo is and who's taking care of him, and all those characters kind of hitting like basically like colliding at once. Oh man, I would have liked to have spent more time in that, unraveling that tangled web.
You did. Yeah.
But we didn't get as much. I felt like, oh, we're ending. The movie's ending now. Oh crap! Like that was something I would have liked to have seen expounded on.
Yeah. So it's definitely worth checking out. I say if you like Titan, or if you like Climax, some of the movies we reviewed, you definitely will like this movie, Emma. There's certain things, I'd say there's certain small vignettes that you really appreciate, but overall I think the movie is just so much. It's just so much. Or some areas it's just not enough. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's not a movie that I'm giving bad props to. I'm just so mixed on it that I didn't really feel enamored by it.
And that's my critique of it is there's so much, but some areas is just not enough.
Yeah, and that's why still like I kind of place it. Yeah, like you put it perfectly between Titan and Climax for me because I loathe Climax, but I liked Titan. So like this is just kind of in that wheelhouse where if you liked those other two movies, if you like that kind of cinema,
oh my God,
this will work for you, or at least be worth checking out.
Alexa and Emma and Alexis should not get together.
No, there's many people
the
in this movie that should
the
not
universe
get
would
together.
explode if those two get together.
That's
Alexa
fair.
from Titan and Emma get together. Forget it.
Just like multiple characters in all three of those movies, though, none of those people should be getting together.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, did you see Emma from 2019? Not the Emma based on Jane Austen, this Emma.
I would say it's one of my critiques of it unforgettable. It's not memorable. But it's unforgettable. You're like, yes, I've seen that movie. Well, yeah.
Yeah, it is a movie that will stay with you. And I did watch it 24 hours ago, and it keeps popping into my brain, and it keeps sitting with me. And I just want to grab a fork and dig it out. And maybe that's what the point of the movie is. But let us know in your comments what you thought about this film. Do you have any comparisons between this and Pablo Larrain's American films?
You'll
Jackie
see a lot of
Spencer's.
influences.
Let us know your thoughts on The Collective and what you enjoyed about that as well. While you're down there, as Nick pointed out, there's a like button, there's a subscribe button, there's a comment section, and there's a Patreon spot where you can join the team, help us pick some different movies, get exclusive content like Picks with Kyle and Nick, and other stuff that we've got available on the Patreon. You can join patrons like Brian Eggert, who picked this episode. Thank you once again, Brian, for picking a movie that I inherently would not have caught if you had not picked it, and I'm glad I saw it, even though I'm not glad I saw the movie. I'm glad I got to experience it once, even though I didn't love it as much as probably you did.
It's it's really this. All the movie is, it just skips on the surface.
I think that's kind of the point. So maybe it works its magic on me. I don't know. Yeah. So from all of us here at Kyle and Nick on Film, you can find my film reviews at goatfilmreviews.com.
I'm Nick on the internet, and you can never get me dancing, man.
I'm gonna get him dancing.